Welcome to the Modes Explained 3. Now this lesson is going to expand on what I spoke about last time, so if you haven't already seen the rest of the videos in this series, I suggest going back to the first one and starting from there. So anyway, what's going to be covered in this is we're going to study the modes to find seventh chords. Last time we did the basic chords of the major scale, but yeah, this time it's going to be the seventh chords. And so I'm going to show you why they are the way they are, like I usually do. And then at the very end I'll show you how to make more complex chords. I'll show you how to make one in particular and how to implement it as well. So, let's do it. Last time we just arranged the triads within the modal shapes, and they gave us those basic, major, minor, and diminished chords. A triad, by the way, is a group of the three intervals, root, any third, and any fifth. So we were playing bar chords for each mode, and every chord's notes were purely roots, thirds, and fifths. This time we will add in another note. This time the chords we will build will consist of four intervals: the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. When a seventh is added to a triad, it makes a seventh chord. Here's a chart I made to show you the seventh chords we'll be using. Refer back to this chart later. And here is the chord scale for seventh chords. But let's get analyzing. As we saw last time, the Ionian mode features a major triad, a root, major third, and perfect fifth. Notice I've also included the seventh interval, and also notice that it is one semitone below the octave. Now when you have a seventh that's right below the octave like this, it's called a major seven. And when you add a major seven to a major triad, you get a major seven chord. And so this is why the seventh chord for the C Ionian mode is a C major seven. The Dorian mode features a minor triad, a root, minor third, and perfect fifth. This time the seventh is a whole tone below the octave, and this type of seventh is called a flat seven. When you add a flat seven to a minor triad, you get a minor seven chord, and so this is why the seventh chord for the D Dorian mode is a D minor seven. In fact, you can play minor seven chords for all three of the minor modes: the Dorian, Phrygian, and the Aeolian. Study the modal shapes yourself and you'll see why. The seventh chord for the Mixolydian mode is a little different. Observe the major triad and the flat seven. Now the Ionian mode, its seven was a major seven, yet the Mixolydian's is flat, so the chord isn't going to be the same. When you add a flat seven to a major triad, you get a dominant seven chord. So this is why the seventh chord for the G Mixolydian mode is a G7. It's very bluesy sounding, and it's written purely as the note followed by the number 7. The fourth and final type of seventh chord that you will encounter in the major scale belongs to the Locrian mode. The Locrian mode has a root, minor third, flat 5, and a flat 7. When you add a flat 7 to a diminished triad, you get a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So this is why the seventh chord for the B Locrian mode is a B minor 7 flat 5. Now let's make a progression in the key of A Dorian using seventh chords. The step-by-step process is exactly the same as it was in the last video when we were using basic chords. Start with the blank chord scale chart. Write out the modes in order, beginning with Dorian, as it is the chosen mode. Now write in the notes of A Dorian into the chart. Now write in the basic chords belonging to each mode. And finally, fill in the correct seventh chord for each mode. Now I'll just take two of these for the sake of simplicity, A minor 7 and B minor 7, and I'll give them a go. Now let's get even more complex and make that A minor 7 chord into something a little more interesting. When you add a ninth interval, otherwise known as a second, to a minor 7 chord, the 7th and the ninth join together, and the resultant chord is just known as a minor 9 chord. If you then go further, and if you add on an 11th interval, otherwise known as a fourth, then the 7th, the ninth, and the 11th interval all group together again, and you call the whole chord a minor 11 chord. So that's what I've done here. And as you can see, these are the notes in A Dorian, which make up an A minor 11 chord. When you arrange these notes on the fretboard, you get a shape like this. Let's give it a go. So here's the original A minor 7, and now that B minor 7. And here's where we changed it to the A minor 11, and then B minor 7. You just gotta love that Dorian sound, right? And that A minor 11 chord, that's a damn nice chord. So anyway, I like to think of the 7th chords as more polite versions of the standard major minor chords that we did in the previous lesson. So yeah, more polite, and I use them as such. Yeah. So there you go, the 7th chords. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and get ready for the Modes Explained 4. See you later.